The worst list to avoid as a beginner wholesaler. Now, I know there's many videos out there, and I've talked about this a bunch, of the best list possible for wholesaling real estate, but nobody really talks about the worst list to avoid in wholesaling real estate. Let me give you a secret about wholesaling houses and marketing. The point of lists is to find people that have a better chance of them becoming a motivated seller than by just cold calling or texting regular homeowners. So in the very essence, having a list is definitely going to be better than not having a list at all. But I truly believe a lot of these hot topic lists that a lot of real estate gurus and YouTubers share with you actually aren't the best case. And I'm not saying these lists are something that are the worst thing ever, but I truly believe that you should avoid these lists and actually do other lists on top of it that gives you a better bang for your buck. We talk about your return on time, or if you're gonna spend an hour or 2 hours texting a list, paying for skip tracing and calling, I want you to have the best chance of getting a wholesaling deal, and you're always gonna have the best chance of a deal by avoiding these type of lists. But before I reveal my top worst list to avoid, do me a favor, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. So I've said this once and I'll say it again. These are lists that I would tell you to avoid versus doing other really good lists. And if you want to learn exactly how to do these type of lists, go to freewholesaling.com and learn the ones that I actually do recommend. Now, number one, probably one of the worst lists you could possibly do, that I believe you should do other things on instead of this one, is just the expired listings. I truly don't understand why wholesalers will go out here and try to wholesale expired listings when you can go after probates or code violations instead. Expired listings is basically a list of property owners that had a property listed and it just didn't work out. And I'll tell you 9 times out of 10, it's because the seller is delusional on the price, not because the house needed too much work. Because I'll tell you, on the MLS, there's plenty of investors that are willing to buy houses for cash. Heck, I'm one of them. And the lowball offer or the price is never the thing. It's usually the seller just wanting too much for the house, and they're just not the best type of list versus the other government list or drawing for dollar list you can possibly get. List number 2 here is the divorce list. And you might be like, whoa, I thought the divorce list was amazing. My favorite internet guru told me that one. Guys, let me tell you this. As somebody that's tried to wholesale a lot of divorce deals and have had divorce deals gone through and actually wholesaled, the amount of work, time, aggravation, and effort for these deals was nowhere near worth it at all. The problem with the divorce situation is you're not just closing one seller, you're basically closing 2 sellers at the same time. And what do I mean by that? Well, when I usually say closing one seller, it's a wife and a husband or whatever type of spouse, and they're all on one team together. So when I make an offer, I give it to the both of them. The problem with the divorce list, you have to give an offer separately to 2 people that basically hate each other. So I give an offer to the husband and he needs to agree to it. And then on top of that, I have to close the wife. And these people don't like each other at all, which makes this entire thing a complete mess. So one thing I will tell you to do is go after the liens or the code violations or the tax delinquency list. You're just going to get a way better chance of getting a deal, and you'll get people that want to sell the property. Usually it's one spouse that just wants to get rid of the house for cash and the other one that wants the most for it, and they hate the other side, or maybe money's tight and they want the most for the house. Divorce situations are usually never the best for this, and I hate telling you to avoid a list like this, but I just think you have way better options out there. Number 3 here, this is the on-market MLS list. I can say this a lot of times, but wholesaling on-market properties or properties that are listed with a realtor is just really not the way to go. I'm not a big fan of wholesaling MLS properties. Yes, I do MLS property wholesaling. I wholesale with agents. I do all these things. But really, for most beginners watching this video, you should probably not wholesale properties on the MLS. Now, granted, I actually do have a course that is free, by the way, inside of freewholesaling.com that shows you how to find and wholesale MLS properties. The problem with MLS properties is I have to make hundreds and hundreds of offers and hours of talking to agents who are literally gatekeepers to these deals and submitting contract after contract just to get one deal accepted. The amount of work, effort, and aggravation to make a $15,000 or $20,000 on a deal like that is just not worth it at all. Government lists are a lot easier. Sellers are a lot easier to talk to. They're more willing to use my title company. And really, unless you're a licensed real estate agent, I would tell you to avoid this list at all. MLS wholesaling has just not yielded their best results if I'm going to put hours and hours into wholesaling real estate every week versus doing off market. I know it sounds super nice and sexy and awesome to go out here, get a bunch of listed properties and make offers on them. The problem is the offers have to be really low. There's this thing called the cash buyer FOMO factor, which basically means a cash buyer who sees a deal that's listed for $100,000 and you lock it up for 80 and you think you got a great deal, the cash buyer is actually going to see that listed price. The cash buyer has an advantage because they know basically what the listed price is. And if you were offering to sell to them for 85 grand, they could say, oh, I could have just called the agent myself and got a $15,000 discount. And that's actually kind of true. Us wholesalers get paid because we provide a contract to a cash buyer at a significant discount that they can't do. And if a cash buyer thinks that they can get a discount themselves, what's the point of you? And I'm telling you the truth, any Joe Schmo off the street that offers cash on an on-market deal can easily get 10 to 15% off that deal. There's no salesmanship, there's no closing skills, really none of that stuff even matters. Heck, I could probably get a 10-year-old if I gave him a script and get 10% off of purchase price just if they're offering cash on it. Us wholesalers that actually know how to talk to sellers, know how to give lowball offers, identify motivation in deals, this is when we can get 20, 30, even 40% discounts. And that's where cash buyers give us a premium on top of our contract price. So we get that nice hefty assignment fee. Now, my minimum rule for wholesaling MLS properties is you need to offer an MAO of at least 75% of the offer price to get rid of this cash buyer FOMO situation. If you're not willing to do that and you're not willing to make hundreds of offers every single day on your local MLS, you're probably not going to become successful at wholesaling on-market properties. There are some snipers out here that are really, really good at what they do, but they are the half a percentile. So like the 1% of the 1% of wholesalers actually very niched out on that do well. But that's really the case for anything. And really, if you spent your time doing water shutoffs or fire damage properties, a list that not really a lot of wholesalers are doing, you could probably get a deal way easier, better, and less hassle than MLS wholesaling properties. Number 4 here, this is a list that might not be a list, but I'm gonna count it here. These are daisy chain JV deals. And what's a daisy chain JV deal? This is basically a deal where a wholesaler gets a property under contract, they can't find a cash buyer, and another wholesaler says, oh, I got buyers, bro. And they get the property under contract and they maybe pretend to be a cash buyer and then they bring it to their wholesaler friend or their other cash buyer and then they chain the deal over to another person. And it's called the daisy chain because it's kind of like a chain going out here where there's like 4 or 5 wholesalers just passing the buck to the other person and everyone's trying to get paid. These are not good deals. Usually when you're daisy chaining deals, the property's locked up for way too high and we're just trying to find a sucker cash buyer to go buy this deal and they're gonna lose their butt and we get it paid on it. That's not how you should do wholesaling. You need your cash buyer to make money in these deals. So usually when there's more than 2 wholesalers on a transaction and they're trying to JV with you, avoid this straight up. Do not wholesale these type of deals. These are never the best deals to do. Now I've done daisy chain deals, but every single daisy chain deal I've done, I've made less than 10 grand on, and it was just way too much work. Number 5, last but not least of lists you definitely need to avoid. This is going to be the Zillow for sale by owner list if you don't use any of the filters or you don't do what I say. What do I mean by this? Zillow for sale by owners can be an amazing list to get a deal really, really fast and effectively, but it also could be a way of you just spinning your wheels in the mud and really not becoming successful at all. The truth of Zillow for sale by owners is everybody sees it, it's super sexy, and actually they end up being very good of a list to wholesale. The problem is, and especially the main issue here, most wholesalers don't know how to do the Zillow for sale by owner the right way. This is a list of people that are listing the property without a realtor that just want to list it by themselves by owner. Hence the word FSBO, for sale by owner, that acronym. Now the problem with Zillow for sale by owners is most Zillow for sale by owners don't want to pay a realtor. They think it's crazy to pay 6% commissions and they're just looking to do it themselves. And heck, I pretty much agree with them there. The issue is a lot of these type of sellers are very greedy when it comes to money and they want to squeeze the most out of the deal and don't want to pay a realtor at all. They want to sell it for retail and not pay that 6% commission. So the issue here is most of these sellers, I would probably say 90 to 95% of them are just in cuckoo Lulu la la land when it comes to their price. And most wholesalers don't understand that, or they don't know how to actually pull the motivation to see if it's actually a good wholesaling deal or not. They'll go to a Zillow for sale by owner listing, they'll try to comp it, they'll spend 5 or 10 minutes, and they'll only spend 5 hours trying to make offers on 6 properties. And really, when you're not becoming fast and efficient with it, you don't even know the true motivation for the seller, and you're doing it on the wrong type of properties, you're gonna do 5 offers and feel like you're doing so good today. When honestly, when I wholesale the Zillow for sale by owners in about 2 or 3 hours, I make about 20 to 30 offers. And I'm working 7 to 8 times more effectively than you. And that's why when I do live streams and I cold call these Zillow for sale by owner deals, I can usually get 1 to 2 price commitments and contracts locked up. And you actually see me do it live because I do it in the effective way. What's my effective strategy? First and foremost, the only really good deals for Zillow for sale by owners are deals that have been listed for at least 100 days on Zillow. Guys, there's money. There's money out here, and I want to go make some money on today. So these are all like 24 days ago. Guys, you want the ones over 100 days, okay? The reasoning is because the property's been sitting there for a while, they're not really getting any activity anymore, and they're going to be way more desperate to sell, and hence a cash offer on their property might be a good plan for them. On top of that too, I call these people up and ask them why it hasn't sold. I get them off their price. I get them off their cuckoo rocker land and just have genuine conversations. Then last but not least, I offer at minimum 70% of the listing price. So if the property is listed for $200,000, I'll offer 140 grand on the deal at most. Why is that? Because cash buyers have FOMO. They're gonna see the listing price. It's just like wholesaling MLS properties. And I have to give a big discount where the cash buyer's like, okay, wow, you did really good on this. I couldn't have even done this myself. Yes, I'll pay you an assignment fee on this. Problem is most wholesalers, they'll see a property listed for 200, they'll agree to get under contract for 190, they feel like the man, and then they try to sell it to a cash buyer for 198,000, and I comped it and the ARV's 500 and really my MAO was 450. I'm giving you a sick deal here, Mr. Cash Buyer. And honestly, the free market has already shown this property listed at 200. It's been sitting for 150 days. Nobody wants to buy at that price. That price is already shown from the market that is way too overpriced. And a lot of people have their egos and they truly feel that nobody's appreciating this deal. And you actually turn into an unreasonable seller at this point of your contract. If the free market has shown, if someone's listed this deal at this price for this long and nothing's been moving, you have to give a significant discount. This is why if a Honda Civic is selling for 20 grand and I list it for $30,000, no one's gonna buy it because similar ones aren't gonna sell for that. And I have to keep bringing the price down until someone's willing to buy it at that price. That's usually how most real estate goes, but a lot of wholesalers still don't understand this concept. Get the deal for at least 70% of the listing price, and then you'll start having some cash buyers that actually even look at the deal and you'll do well. Do not be the boy that cried wolf, that you always send this terrible trash deals to cash buyers because you're gonna have the reputation from the cash buyer of the guy or gal that is just sending trash deals that you'll lose money on, and your cash buyers will stop looking at the deals you send them. Heck, I'm a cash buyer and a wholesaler, and I have certain wholesalers that I just avoid when they send me deals because the last 30 deals they've sent me have all been trash. Make sure your cash buyer makes money, make sure you make money, and make sure you do the right wholesaling lists. Instead of these terrible 5 lists, I highly recommend you go after government lists, drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars, and paid lists on PropStream, aka ListREI.com, like the vacant properties, the high equity, the tired landlords, the evictions list, all these amazing lists you can get and learn exactly how to do in my free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com. Guys, avoid these lists, use the list I teach you at freewholesaling.com, and you'll be well on your way to getting your first deal and actually becoming successful in wholesaling real estate. Guys, if you got value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.